James J Radio Show on Advent Sports Network.
So for those just tuning in to the DLSK Radio Show, you are listening to Loserville Talk by Jeremy Winston and myself.
And James Lewis. I was about to say, there you go.
We're in Loserville. We're sitting on the couch in Loserville together. So the Philadelphia Eagles just lost to the Atlanta Falcons. They played a good game, but came up short, 26-24. Meanwhile, the Indianapolis Colts, who are my pick to not only win the Super Bowl this year, but to go 14-2 en route to a Super Bowl victory, were completely obliterated by the Buffalo Bills on Sunday. Wiped off the field. The final score 27-14 was not indicative. That game was a 45-7 game. Rex Ryan just doesn't coach it up like that. They enjoy playing defense. They were enjoying hitting Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was sacked 4 times, was hit another 6 or 7 times. Tyrod Taylor was completely untouched, and Buffalo was up 24-0 at one point in that game. So they really just cruised to a very easy victory. Colts got some garbage time scores to pad the stats. What is it like, Jeremy, as a fan, when your team starts 0-1? It kind of puts you on notice when you hear coaches talk about the NFL. Like you said, it's a grind. It's a 16-game season. So really the goal is to look at it in quartiles. You look at the first 4 games, look at your schedule. You figure, hey, we think we can start out 3-1, and then you see where you might have a tough stretch in your schedule and some difficult road games, and you say, well, hopefully we can split those games and go 2-2. By the end of the season, if you make it to that 10-6 mark, 11-5, 9 times out of 10 you're going to make it into the playoffs. Once you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. But at 0-1, you're 1 game away from being 0-2. Once you get to that 0-2 mark, panic can set in. How do you feel as an Eagles fan about your chances? Who do you guys play next week, and what are your chances?
Oh, I mean, well, first of all, let me just say, one of the big challenges I think that we as sports fans have to balance both the urgency of now. I think we talked earlier in the year, NFL provides a sense of urgency to every game. So you have that urgency, but then at the same time, you also have the reality that you can't panic too soon. Because so many things can happen in the course of the season. I mean, we look at the Carolina Panthers. I mean, they snuck in. I can't remember the record, but they snuck into 7-9. Yeah, I mean, with the below 500 record last year. Now, obviously, I don't want the Eagles to go that, and I don't think anybody go there, and I don't think anybody wants their team to be below 500. But the reality is, so many things happen in the NFL, and you have to not let yourself panic. But we do have. I mean, I'm even patient or cautious to say when our easy stretch is going to be, because I don't know what teams are going to turn out to be the hard teams to beat in the season. I mean, we look at the Bills. If you even asked me to pick between the Bills and the Colts from this past weekend, I would have picked the Colts every single time. Every time. And because no one thought the Bills would be, I mean, some people were talking about him. And Rex Ryan is a big defensive guy. Son of Buddy Ryan, former Philadelphia Eagles coach. So
coach with no rings, just like Rex Ryan.
But their son just punched your team in the mouth. But the fact of the matter is, so many things change in the season, so you have to kind of wait and see.
When they punched us in the mouth, their knuckles did not bruise because they had no rings on their fingers. when they punched us in the mouth. But continue.
But yeah, okay, that's fair enough. But nevertheless, your mouth is bruised. I mean, your mouth is bruised from a bare knuckles, which sometimes could be as brutal as a ring filled hand. But nevertheless, so next week we go to Cowboys. I mean, now the Cowboys is a big deal for us. It's a big game. It's always a big game. They put us early. They usually put us at the end of the year to play Cowboys. I think they did it early because we got their running back DeMarco Murray. It's going to be at the Link in Philly. So I mean, I think this is going to be a real a big tone setter for the year for the whole division, because right after that, 2 weeks later, we play the Redskins, and then 2 weeks after that, we play the Giants, and then 2 weeks after that, we come right back again with the Cowboys. So by week 9 or by week 10, I mean, just after Halloween, which is the midway point through the season, we will know where we stand. In terms of the division, we would have played every one of our division teams at least once. The Redskins look like they're about to be a forest fire. I mean, I don't know what in the world's going to happen with that franchise right now. The Giants look like they're going to be a pretty strong team. They should have won yesterday. They really should have won. But, listen, I mean, again, another thing, you don't panic. They seem to have their mode, at least for one game, they were hungry. They want to try to get back into it. Cowboys obviously are a formidable team because of their talent, but they're just prone to choking. So, I just have to be cautious. I have to be cautious in getting ahead and say what's going to happen. But we've got a tough season. I'm looking ahead. We've got the Dolphins look pretty strong. I think the Lions are always going to be contending towards the end, so they're going to be hungry. We play the Patriots week 13. Cardinals look really serious. I mean, Carson Palmer's back, looking very healthy. And then we end off our season with the Giants, and if the Giants keep it up, that's going to be a hard team as well. I'm also looking. We play the Panthers. Panthers just for the longest time have been a hard out, even when they didn't have their strongest season like last season. But they're always a grinding team. They're always a team that you can never look past. The Saints as well. The Jets look good over the Cleveland Browns yesterday. So I mean, there's just so much that's have to pan out in the course of the season. But I like what I saw tonight. This was kind of like the West Coast offense on steroids, like I like to think about it. And I knew they would be able to move the ball with Darren Sproles and with DeMarco Murray, with Sam Bradford. I mean, they've got the pieces to move the ball. I was concerned about the defense, and I still am. Can they stop the ball on the other side? And if they can get their defense together, this team could really make some noise.
So you're listening to the Lance Day Radio Show. I'm talking with Jeremy about week 1 of the NFL season. This is an awesome time in the lives of Americans, both men and women, children as well. The first week of the NFL, when many of us kick back, whether it's with our families or at a local sports eating establishment and sit and watch the games. Some of the things that I picked up, and I go to the same, being that I live in Seattle, I'm not able to get Colts games. I have to either get the package, and I live in an apartment building where getting a satellite isn't an option, so I can't get the NFL package. I have to go physically to a bar and watch the games at a sports bar, which is interesting because the games come on at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Colts games. So I'm at the restaurant eating an omelet and some breakfast hash brown while watching football. I had a chance to see they have all of the games up, and I stayed there most of the day. I came home and watched the Ravens Broncos game. Some of the things that stood out for me from week 1 is one of those things is I look at Peyton Manning, and I really see someone who's at the end of the line. I see Peyton Manning, and I've made fun of Peyton Manning as a Colts fan. I've said some really reckless things about him, but this isn't a bash Peyton Manning for comedic effect discussion. I really saw an old guy who can't throw the ball more than 15 yards anymore. They can't throw the deep ball, can't even throw the corner out route with velocity. Someone who's admitted that he cannot feel his fingers or fingertips in his throwing hand anymore. I saw that. You saw Terrell Suggs get hurt in that game. He blew his Achilles out for the second time, which I fear effectively ends his career, him being in his, getting into his mid-30s, kind of getting towards the end of the line. It's terrible to see if he goes out like that. But what I saw, which really stuck out the most, I did not see any team that looked dominant. I saw a lot of sloppy football without the great quarterbacks like the Manning, who was head and shoulders above, Brady, who was head and shoulders above, the Pittsburgh defense, which once was great and head and shoulders above, even the Seattle defense without Cam Chancellor. I didn't see any unit that just scared me. I didn't see any team that I said, wow, this team is significantly better than everyone else. And I joked with you, Jeremy. I said that generally only 4 to 5 teams have a chance to win the Super Bowl. It actually looks to the contrary. This looks to be one of the most wide open years that I've seen in quite some time, with the Patriots taking some steps back, losing a lot of players, Peyton Manning not being as good as he once was, the Colts still being soft, Pittsburgh's defense not being good anymore, and Seattle's defense not being good anymore. It seems like this is a year where teams like the Arizona Cardinals, even the Philadelphia Eagles, if they get it together, the Dallas Cowboys, teams that have not been competing for Super Bowls over the last 5 years, it seems like this is the year where a lot of these other teams have a shot. Even the Tennessee Titans, who had a rookie quarterback go out and proceed to have a perfect quarterback rating and throw 4 touchdowns. It seems like this is the year that someone could come out of nowhere to go deep into the playoffs or even win the Super Bowl. Just kind of curious of your thoughts.
Well, yeah, I agree with that, and kind of my just overall approach to trying to determine what teams are going to be strong late. They tend to have one attribute that is able to withstand the test of the grueling NFL season. And these attributes are different. Sometimes they have an excellent coaching staff that is able to game plan in an exceptional way above, that hides their weaknesses and magnifies their strengths. Or they have an exceptional defense that can keep any offensive juggernaut at bay or keep them from getting an end zone. Or they have an exceptional offense that no matter who they play, they can tend to expose the defense. And I find when we get towards the end of the year, it's which team has an attribute that can overcome, again, the grueling long season. So we look at the recent Super Bowl winners. You had the New England Patriots, to me, which is the front office. I mean, not the front office, the coaching staff. I think they game plan better than anyone. Now, I mean, anyway, I won't get into all the other legal stuff.
I don't know if they cheat. I don't know if cheating is. I don't know if cheating is considered to be game planning, but I hear what you're saying.
Listen. I mean, in this case, they won, and if cheating was what they did to win, nevertheless they won. Well, they strategized their way to victory.
You are listening to the Lance J Radio Show, featuring Michael Jones.
If I'm a real scorer, I might just go for 80, 85 and laugh because I'm shooting Jays and everybody today.
Alan Bozeman.
Now he's moved to an H-back / quarterback / wide receiver position where he plays like a Percy Harvin type role where he can be dominant in so many different ways.
Crystal Darby.
Athlete I am. There's certain people that may be ball players. They can play basketball, but they can't play soccer. They can't play football, so they're ball players.
Jeremy Winston.
So somebody in the front office said, listen, we don't have any footage of LeBron, and we didn't prepare for LeBron losing, so put something together really quick to explain why he lost.
Advent Sports Network is a 503c charity. All advertising proceeds from the Lance J Radio Show are used to fund nationwide youth sports programs and the Advent Sports Network Mentorship and Development Institute, which provides opportunities for young aspiring Christian journalists to cover athletic events and produce sports-related programming.
On the river Manatee, where the hills are rolling green, you are back on the Lance J Radio Show on Advent Sports Network. I have a great treat for my listeners this week. I am talking to Patrick Jones, senior guard at Pine Forest Academy. Always good to talk to a fellow Falcon. This young man hails from Charlotte, North Carolina. And I'm just very excited to have this the first chance I've had to really connect with an actual active Pine Forest player. So it's good having you on the show, PJ. What's going on, man?
Thank you. Nothing much. Just hanging out, man. It's raining bad over here, so it's been pretty nasty. But other than that, it's been a good day so far. Thank you for having me.
All right, no doubt. So tell me, what is it like suiting up for the green and white, man? Tell some of my listeners what it's like playing for the Falcons. What type of team do you have? What type of coaching style does Coach Cantrell have? What are some of the benefits? What's just that experience like?
The experience overall, last year was my first year, so I came in as a junior. So I kind of came to Pine Forest, didn't know anyone at all. So it was just like starting high school all over again, if you think about it. But other than that, it was probably the greatest high school experience of my life, just because proving to others how good you can be and how you can help others to win, because that's all I want to do is just win basketball games. And I was to help Coach Cantrell out because he's pretty straight up. He works with you even when it's off season and after the season and even in between. And he helps you out, and he just tells you what your weaknesses are, and just for him to just be helping me out. But it's been a pleasure just being here, and I'm really excited for the season.
Okay, how is the team looking as far as what's the composition of the team? Are you returning back a lot of upperclassmen like yourself, or do you have a lot of younger players coming in? How do you guys feel? Are you guys going to be able to compete in your league? When I was at Pine Forest, it was before I played in Chris Fielder's first season coaching men's varsity. I was on that team. I know since then Pine Forest has joined the league and an athletic association. Are you guys looking competitive? Are you looking like you have a shot to take home the title? How are you guys looking?
In my opinion, I mean, this is not to sound really self-conscious or conceited, but I feel like when you have people like me as a senior and hopefully will be who's going to be a leader, I think we're always, with me on the team, it's always going to be competitive and it's always going to be looking forward to the W at the end of the game. But with with like new students and returning students, I think I'm really out of like two other people, I'm the only returning student that played often. But we have some kids who came in this year who are really putting in the work right now to get better and really trying to give some help to the team this year because we want to win another championship. And that's what I really want to do as I'm going out of high school. But I know other than that, we lost two important players, Justin Thornton, who was a senior last year, and Sean Gurdon. They really helped us out a lot last year. So it's kind of like you got to fill in those shoes a little bit and see what you can do without them. But I'm always looking forward to challenges. So other than that, I'm more than ready to get the season started.
Well, that sounds great. Let us know, PJ, about some of the actual rivalries. Who are some of the games on Pine Forest's schedule that you have circled? When I was there, the game with TA and the game with Oakwood Academy were the two that we circled on our calendar as soon as the schedule came out, particularly that Oakwood Academy game. They were our biggest rival at the time. We would always seem to find a way to beat Oakwood Academy, even if we didn't win any other games the entire season. What is the team that you guys are kind of gunning for and kind of go back and forth with?
The teams I am circling on the calendar probably would have to be three. Number one is TA, because TA's always had this kind of like this little beef with us. We don't really know why, but I'm always looking forward to play TA. I like the competition more than anything. I like the trash talk, and they bring that. So I think that brings the best out of me as a player, and it brings the best out of all of us who are returning for this team. So TA is the one I really have circled. We don't play Oakwood Academy, not that I know of this year, but hopefully I would like to play them because I have some family who went there. I have my sister who's a senior there now, so to go play in front of her would be good and all of her friends, so I could show off a little bit or something. But so TA, and I'm not sure about Oakwood Academy, but there's another school called the Hill School, which is a school that's up the street from here. They knocked us out the water, like they put us up. It's another game to get better, and that's what I like doing against those good teams is just learning how you can get better and how you can and be a better player and to be a better leader. So other than that, those three teams is what I'm looking forward to.
Tell us a little bit, for those listening to the Lance J Radio Show, I'm on the phone with senior guard Patrick Jones, who hails from Charlotte, North Carolina. He is a guard for the Pine Forest Academy Falcons basketball team. Coach Cantrell described him as a combo guard. I don't even know what that means. I assume that means that you're someone that can handle the ball and bring it up the court, and also an individual that can put up 20 points if need be, as opposed to the traditional distributor. Tell us a little bit, kind of step away from just your role on the basketball team. What is it like just going to Pine Forest in this day and age? My 20th, kind of showing my age, my 20th class reunion is next year, and a lot of the people that were just there a couple of days ago, the class of 95 that had their 20th, are people that I played ball with and went to school with, and many times got into fistfights with, various nefarious activities inside of the dormitory. What's it like going to Pine Forest, man? What's the vibe up there? I mean, I was up there before people had cell phones and before you had computers and stuff. Like, if you wanted a letter from your girl, like, she literally had to write you a letter and have it delivered to the dorm. I mean, there were like 2 pay phones, and if you weren't a senior, there was no dice. Like, there was no way you were getting on that phone if you weren't a senior. I mean, what's it like now with all the technology and all of the stuff? I mean, are y'all still heavily invested in the choir, creative arts? I mean, what's going on up at the Forge, man?
Well, at the Forge right now, it's just it's exciting. At this moment, I'm not going to lie to you, it's really exciting. Only because, for me, it's a senior, and I feel like I have the leadership role to encourage others so they can be better than me when I leave, and I can set the example to be someone who respects other people and helps other people. But with Pine Forge, it's a pleasure and it's a privilege to even be at this school and even be called a Falcon, because it means so much. And everyone, even if you're a student athlete here, it's just like it makes things 10 times better than just being a student. So when you're just an athlete, people look up to you and they talking to you in the hallways before the game. Is like, man, we need you tonight, or we need this, we need that, or hopefully we can get the W. So that's the best encouragement, and it's not just from the students, it's from the faculty members, and it's from everyone, even the people who were just who came here previously. Like they would come back, during the season, and they would just talk to us during practices, and just to hear their encouraging words of how they used to do it back then, and they used to be dunking the ball and all this other crazy stuff. And now it feels good just to know that these people can come back and teach us that stuff and let us know what's up. But with what you said, with like the technology, what we got now, and how you used to be writing the notes to the girls or something like that, it's different. It's different. Now it's just different. We don't have all that stuff, so I think it's still just an honor, it's a blessing to even be here at this school.
Nah, indeed. It all sounds good, PJ. I think that we're going to be following and covering Pine Forest more. Michaela Arthur, who is new to Pine Forest, she's a junior up there. Mm-hmm. She actually is a member of Advent Sports Network. So she is a person that's done journalism for Advent Sports Network, and she's going to be covering Pine Forest sports from the perspective of both a player, she's an excellent basketball player, and a journalist as well. So we want to continue to cover Pine Forest and give you guys as much shine as possible. We appreciate you coming on the show. Shout out to Coach Cantrell. He's doing big things up at Pine Forest Academy. we're looking for you guys to have an excellent season and to really be successful. So good luck, man.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on. And just one more thing, if I could say about Cantrell. You mentioned the question earlier was just about how he is as a coach. In my opinion, I'll leave it at this because I don't know what else you got planned. But I just hands down, out of if you rating Coach Cantrell right now from 1 through 10, he's probably about a 15. He's always pushing you. He's always wanting the best for each player and focus on even when you're down in the schoolwork, he's letting you know what's up. And even when you're not doing your best in the game, he's letting you know what's up. He's just telling you what you need to do, and he helps you out tremendously. And I really appreciate that from him as a student and even as a student athlete. So really big ups to Cantrell. And thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, since you brought up Coach Cantrell, I'm gonna ask you one more question, PJ. Let me put you on the spot. Can Cantrell still ball? Can he still ball? Because I know he can shoot, but can he still play? Or are the pictures that he posts on Facebook the one highlight where he actually went 3 for 15 from the field, but he posted 3 shots that he made? I don't want to get you in trouble, though, so you can opt out if you can't answer that.
No. You get me in trouble. I tell you this. Coach still thinks he's young, and that's the funny part. I mean, he still thinks he can hoop with me and everyone else, but on the other hand, he has a nice shot. But other when it's like me and him, like we played an alumni game, and I was guarding him, and I knocked the ball out of his hands a couple of times, and I had to lock down defense, so he didn't score on me. But other than that, he's pretty decent. But I think I have the upper hand, other than him. But I have the upper hand. He's not as good as he used to be. But yeah.
Well, it's all about passing that knowledge and wisdom down the chain.
Yeah.
So,
that's what
we appreciate. And it's been a great interview, PJ. I think we'll try to touch bases with you throughout the year and let you guys tell us how the season's going, man.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, no doubt.
Hey everybody, this is Coach Eric Cantrell. I am the athletic director and the head coach for boys basketball at Pine Forge Academy, located in Pine Forge, Pennsylvania. And I'm listening to V. Lance J radio show on Advent Sports Network.
Hello, I am Dr. Arlene Archer, otherwise known as The Life Doctor, and you are listening to the Lance J Radio Show on Advent Sports Network. Between juggling my professional responsibilities as a clinical psychologist and independent business owner, and my personal interests as a wife and mother, I make the time to fulfill my passion of helping others through inspirational videos. Join me on my YouTube channel as The Life Doctor, where I vlog on home life, education, health, fitness, and more.
Dude, that's Jay Cutler over there, quarterback for the Denver Broncos.
Would you boys like to meet him?
Are you serious?
Jay, I want you to meet Stan and Kyle. They broke 100,000 points on Guitar Hero.
Wow, really? Nice to meet you guys. Nice to meet you. I mean, you kind of suck, but my dad says you might be good someday.
Thanks.
You are listening to the Lance J Radio Show on Advent Sports Network.
Last season, this individual came on and gave a rousing testimony, talked about his work in the community in Chicago, growing up in Trenton, New Jersey, how he's kind of used basketball and sports as a medium to literally save the lives of young gentlemen, in the streets, getting them converted through sports, through fellowship, through being a leader, being a mentor. Also, our guest this week talked about going to Haiti to do some charitable work in conjunction with some other individuals that he grew up with and went to school with down in the Seventh-day Adventist hospital system in Haiti. So I wanted to bring Damon Leggett back to talk about how that trip went, and he's got a lot of other endeavors and big things coming through the pipeline, so I wanted to give him a few minutes to talk about that, man. Hey, what's going on, big homie? Good to talk to you again.
Oh, man, it's good to be back. Safe and sound. It was a life-changing event going down to Haiti. Everything that we expected and wanted to do, God blessed and opened the doors, and we were able to do that and more. We're going back again sometime soon, probably the first of the year, probably like the first week of January 2016. So we're preparing for that.
So what exactly, Damon, was I know that there are a lot of different programs. I mean, I have several friends that have been on different mission trips to Haiti since the terrible earthquake, the devastating tragedy that was there a few years back. What exactly was your specific mission? Who were you working with, and what service did you provide to the local community?
Okay, great. My mission was to go there and support my brother, Edward Martin, who was running the Adventist Hospital in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. That was my original goal and mission. And when I heard about the need expressed to me when I was on the phone, when I first talked to him while he was over there, I said, I'm coming, bro. I'll be there. I'm going to get whatever resources that I can. And that's really what I do. I get resources, and I give people access to resources. That's why I go by the moniker Dr. Life. It's short for Dr. Lifeguard. You know what I'm saying? I meet the people's needs, and I give them access to resources that probably would never, ever come into their life. You know what I'm saying? So I told Marty I would go around and collect shoes, collect clothes, collect hospital necessities, regular household necessities, school supplies, and we did all of that. We did every single one of those items. We got them. People gave. We have to thank the Mount Sinai Seventh-day Adventist Church, the Vineyard Seventh-day Adventist Church, the Florida Hospital System here in Orlando. So many organizations. The Walnut Street Seventh-day Adventist Church in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, blessed us tremendously. So people just poured into us, and we took it, and we gave it out, man. It was a blessing.
So, David, tell my listeners, what is the state currently in Haiti? I mean, how much have they recovered from the tragedy several years back? Are they still rebuilding their infrastructure? Or, I mean, we all know that Haiti is a country that, first of all, has produced a lot of great people. A lot of people have come to the state or gone to different places in the world and flourished. A very tough culture. I've had a lot of players. Some of the best players that I coached when I was in coaching were actually from Haiti or had Haitian backgrounds. But what about how have they bounced back, and what can we do to help them continue to bounce back?
All right, good. So I'm about to challenge the faith-based community. I'm about to challenge people who carry the name of Christ. All right, we're about to challenge them right now. All right, so our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, he said, when you've done it unto the least of these, my brethren, you've done it unto me. All right, so Janet Jackson wasn't the first person to say, what have you done for me lately? You know what I'm saying? And to be honest, the money has not gotten to Haiti. Let's just be real. I got the studies and the documentation. I'm doing a legacy giving campaign, right? There were billions of dollars raised. All right. We have the organizations that received millions and billions of dollars. Some of these same organizations received millions and billions of dollars in Afghanistan as well. Right? So there are organizations that capitalize off of disasters. Let's just be real. You know what I'm saying? So when I get to Haiti and I'm there, you know what I'm saying, I only believe in hand-to-hand mission work. I only believe in you give it to me, and I'm going to let you see on a camera that I gave the sneakers you gave me in Brooklyn. You're going to see them go on somebody's foot in Haiti. That's what I do. And I'm here to tell y'all right now, all of that money to the Red Cross and all of these, it never showed up in Haiti. I get to Haiti, we pull out a camera, and the Haitian people, they talk about screw faces in Jamaica. Come on, man. Like, these people is looking at us like, man, And this one lady stood up on the curb. We at the side of the road in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and my photographer pulls up this camera. He's taking pictures. And she stand up and in Creole, she be like, going off. So I talked to him, turned to my translator. I was saying, like, yo, what is going on? He was like, yo, she just keeps saying, you always take pictures, but you never give. You always take pictures, but you never give. That's all she kept saying. Right? I dug down in my box. I got LeBrons. I got Jordans. I stopped the car. I jumped out on the street and hated. Come on, man. Like, this is me. Like, I'm like, no, I came here to give. I know you don't understand me, but translate, whatever she wants, she could get. Like, methane right then and there. But I'm trying to tell y'all, people think they did something because they contributed to these organizations. Listen, y'all need to start contributing again. If y'all want the information to the Fatherless Foundation, we'll show y'all where y'all blessings go. The money you give to us, it goes to Haiti. All right, so that's what the situation is. There is no recovery, man. The people is in a bad situation. These people is making less than $2 a day. And 70% of the people there is unemployed. So the ones that are employed, they making maybe $60 a month. And then when you try and go into a store down there, it's worse than here. Bag of chips, $5, $6. You know what I'm saying? Some deodorant like $7, $8. A bar of soap, $4 or $5. If you make it $60 a month, are you going to buy a stick of deodorant for $8? It's not happening. You know what I'm saying? They can't even think about going in there. So when we pulled out, when we pulled out the supplies, man, the necessities, shampoo, they act like I was giving them a bar of gold. Shampoo, the bottle of shampoo, bruh. So I'm telling you, the need is great. Whatever funding Christians think is going over there, y'all need to switch what organizations y'all gave to, start the giving all over again, because the least of these, our brethren, is in Haiti, and we need to meet that need.
So for those listening to the Lance J Radio Show on Advent Sports Network, I'm talking with Damon Leggett. He's talking about some of the mission work that he's doing in Haiti. We will be running about a 45-second drop that Damon will be talking about his foundation and the various charitable endeavors that he's working on. So you, as you hear that drop, which you'll hear throughout our shows on a weekly basis, you want to go to his website. You want to give. You want to look at opportunities to participate. Give whatever you can give. If it's not of your money, like Damon said, he's collecting shoes. He's collecting toiletries. He's collecting supplies. These things are all very important to our brethren and sisters in Haiti. Before you bounce out, Damon, I just wanted to give you a chance to talk about your group and Alien Nation and some of the ministry in music that you're working with in the South Florida area where you reside, and also some of the work in parallel that you're doing with Eric Thomas, who's very prominent, and you see Eric on Fox News and on the Cleveland Cavaliers board doing motivational speaking. What are some of the things you guys are doing?
All right, so E.T., RPG, which is my name, and Alien Nation. Alien Nation, we all started our ministries in Oakwood using hip-hop as a medium to reach young at-risk youth. All right, so that's how the three entities all came together. That's when I very first started working with E.T., because we lived in this world, but we're not of this world. All right, so ever since then, that's what the relationship is. All right, he's the hip-hop preacher, right? My name is RPG, the rugged prophetic ghost, right? I call myself the hip-hop I am, all right? That's what I call myself, because I came to set the captives free, right? And I stand on the one who stated that, right? That's what I stand on. That's the foundation. So long story short, this is the 20-year anniversary of when we all came together. We actually got in a room, and E.T. was the one who actually anointed our group. We took a vow and an ordination, right? An ordination. We went through an ordination service, Right? I took a vow to become a watchman in Alien Nation, meaning blow the trumpet. If I don't blow the trumpet, the blood is on my hands for the not giving the warning. But as long as I blow the trumpet through Alien Nation and sound a warning, as long as I get it out there, the blood is on their head if they don't do nothing with the warning. All right? So that's why E.T. and I have been, you know what I'm saying, grinding from then on out, break the cycle and all of that. And so now we're here today. 20 years later, I have my own totally separate organization, the Father's Wish Foundation, and we use resources and give resources to these young people. I'm into the dropout prevention game. That's what my outreach is. Because the fastest way to empower and put funds back into the economy is prevent our high school students from dropping out. All right? Each one of them is worth $10,000. In Florida alone, if half of the high school dropouts that dropped out, we prevented half of them from dropping out in Florida alone, we will boost the economy by $363 million. $363 million in Florida alone. All right? California is over $1 billion, $1.2 billion. If half of the kids who dropped out of high school, we just prevented them from going to high school, from dropping out and going to college. Right? So what I've done is, with Alien Nation, with basketball, we have a Let's Get in the Beginning Fit health initiative. Every initiative is aimed at attracting young people into our program and giving them dropout prevention insurance, meaning you get in this program or you come to our concert and then we put them to work in shooting, filming the videos, you know what I'm saying, the whole drama production. They can get into the skits and do the performance. There's a whole play around, a theme around the concerts called The Story of Dominion. All right? So we just engage the youth. Everything that we do has to deal with attracting these young people, putting them to work, giving them skills behind the camera, recording arts, letting them sing, letting them do the acting, letting them get in front of the camera and be the model for the clothing lines that we have. You name it, we write in books. We having the college people, our college students as editors, you know what I'm saying, and publishers. Everything is geared around dropout prevention. Okay. All right, so coming up, I've taken that Break the Cycle mantle that E.T. handed to me, and I'm running with it with the Father's Wish Foundation, and now we're doing this series of concert tours where, like I said, our young people are all of the behind the scenes. They do everything, the filming, the editing, the everything. So when it's time for them to decide on whether they're going to go into college or something, they have bright futures because they are graphic designers. They're film editors. They're, you know what I'm saying? They have skills now and abilities because we just took some hip-hop and some messaging because we know some people, South Florida Youth Federation calls us down there. We like, okay, we can go down there and put together a concert and let our kids come through and benefit. And now we're starting a division of the program that I do in Orlando, in Chicago, in Philadelphia. Now we're doing it down in the Miami area as a result. So that's why we're going down there. E.T. will be in there preaching on Saturday, but I'll be there the whole week starting off another division, giving young people down there access to these programs to keep them in school.
So that's just a great cause, and Damon, we'll have to talk offline, man, because what I'm doing at Advent Sports Network is very similar. We have a program for young people that want to get into journalism and want to start covering sports, and we have mentors that we assign to these people and teach them writing skills and all of those things. So I think that you and I are going to have chances to collaborate downstream. Everybody listening to this program, support Damon Legette, support the Father's Wish Foundation. You'll hear you'll hear his commercials on the show moving forward. Go to his website, give, donate. Thanks for coming to the show, Damon, and we'll be back on the Lance J Radio show after these messages.
Well, frankly, what I saw was not a team that's ready for prime time. I mean, I get that this is first year, and, you know, they have to work their way up to a certain level, but you're Michigan. And you can't lose that game, in my opinion, especially when you get Jim Harbaugh and you have this big splash, he's making all this noise in the media day in and day out. I mean, where's the hunger? Where's the fight? And, look, do I want that team up north to be better than what it's been? Because, quite frankly, they've stunk it up and been a sorry organization.
No, they've been an embarrassment. Program. They're pathetic.
Yeah,
They're a pathetic embarrassment and a caricature of themselves. In Columbus, and you went to Ohio State. I didn't go to Ohio State. I grew up in Columbus. But you're Morse Law grad. Could you imagine what would happen in Columbus if Ohio State was 5-7 for 4 out of 5 years? Like, the city would literally implode. Like, those people would be rioting in the streets. For Michigan to be so pathetic and so lethargic and be soft and just unable to close games, to get whooped up on by Penn State. They lost to Indiana last year. They lost to Appalachian State a few years ago. It's just an embarrassment. I mean, it's a joke. And it's an embarrassment to the Jordan logo, in my personal opinion.
You are listening to the Lance J Radio Show on Advent Sports Network.
Arise and give God glory. This is the command of gospel artist Kimberly Bolgen. She commands everyone to give God praise in her hit single entitled Garment of Praise.
Now is the time for your garment of praise.
This song gives a bold command to praise God no matter what. Continue to praise God as you also enjoy Kimberly Bolgen's other hit single entitled God Chose Me.
God chose me.
Put on your garment of praise with gospel artist Kimberly Bolgen and experience a new level of praise and worship. Check out our download locations to purchase gospel artist Kimberly Bolgen's music. You can also find out more about Kimberly Bolgen on her website at KimberlyBolgen.com. Experience the power of God through the dynamic ministry of Kimberly Bolgen today.
Excuse me, I just got to get through. I'm looking for my ball. This is golf.
Is this your ball?
Yes, it is.
It struck my foot.
Doug!
That's 2 thus far, shooter.
Oh, you can count. Good for you.
And you can count on me waiting for you in the parking lot.
You are listening to the Lance J Radio Show on Advent Sports Network.
Well, honestly, it's funny because I could come up with 3 reasons, and the race thing is honestly number 3. Real talk, I think the main reason is because she's a woman now. There are women that get a lot of, accolades, but a lot of times when sportscasters look at women and critique female athletes, they're critiqued for their hair, for their clothing, and that sort of thing. I can remember several times hearing her make comments about the clothes that she had on as opposed to, her 100-plus mile serve, and that's what they have a tendency to do. You have beautiful women like Sharapova or whatever, and they, put them in Sports Illustrated, and, female athletes become sex symbols more so than athletes in the public eye. And I think that's the first reason why she doesn't get all the accolades that she gets. But then I think the second reason is the sport that she's playing. I mean, you got to look at the history of, which kind of ties in with my third reason of race. But, tennis is, that aristocratic sport. You look at maybe basketball and soccer, and you have people like Mia Hamm or Lisa Leslie who, they get their props for the most part. But you look at the sport, it's a rough and tumble sport. But when you look at tennis or golf or whatever, it's really hard for black athletes to get, the say that they deserve. Even Tiger Woods, he gets so much flack, for things that have nothing to do with golf, and it has a lot to do with him being black and coupling it with the fact that he's in a sport that is usually considered, for white people that have money, that sort of thing.
So you're listening to the Lance J Radio Show. I'm with Crystal Darby. We're talking about Serena Williams, who lost on Friday last week in her bid to win the Grand Slam. She had won 4 consecutive major tennis titles, but she didn't win 4 in a calendar year. I was pretty mortified at the way that I felt that she was portrayed in the media as kind of, you see the headlines, Serena fails to close, or you see a lot of headlines that have negative connotations. I'm a little bit more disgusted, and the reason that Crystal's going to talk about this as a female athlete, as an African-American athlete, I'm more disgusted with the way that Serena Williams has been portrayed in the media for years. And for those that know me personally or listen to the show, I'm not one of those type of guys that thinks that everything's racist. So I don't believe if you ask your boss for a raise and he doesn't give you a raise, that means that he's racist. Or if a cop pulls you over because you have a broken tail light, that's because you're black and the cop is a racist. But it does bother me the way that Serena's portrayed. I mean, you have someone who, in my opinion, should be on the Mount Rushmore of female athletes, but it seems that she's too black, she's too dark, she's too from Compton, she's too street, she's too flamboyant. You see African-American athletes that are accepted within the mainstream media, but when you have this curvaceous, beautiful, radiant, flamboyant, someone who's very vocal on and off the court, that seems to intimidate the media, and that seems to intimidate Middle America. And I'm just kind of getting Crystal's take on it. Crystal, what do you think, just as someone who is an athlete, how does it impact? You've played many sports and played professional football. What is the difference when you have interfaced with athletes of other races? How have you been treated in respectiveness to your non-African American counterparts?
Well, I will say this, but I want to kind of tie it in as I'm talking. You said you're not the type of person to say that everything is, the man or racist. I kind of am that type of person, and so it's funny that I don't lean so much in thinking that this is racial. But as far as an athlete and dealing with, I guess, Caucasian or other race athletes playing professional football, because of the nature of the sport, I think there's a certain camaraderie that's built. You have tennis, which is an individual sport, and so you're looked at individually. And a lot of sports where women do get their due props, like Lisa Leslie or Mia Hamm or whatever, they are sports that women are much more physically active. And I guess I don't know if it's easier for America to accept someone in that tone as opposed to someone who's supposed to be in a pure white skirt, on the court in front of royalty. I think it's easier for America to accept that than it is for, a very black, dark, and her body is, African American. She has very thick thighs. She's a Clydesdale. She's built to work, and I think that's like you said. I think it's intimidating. Like I said, the sport, it's supposed to be aristocratic, but, on the male side of things, you have someone like Federer who cusses all the time,
All the time, all the time.
He's horrible, but the thing is, he's considered passionate, You have, what's the man's name, Nadal, who plays that deep ball where he continues to keep the point until he can run the person down, where it's kind of similar how Serena will do. But with her, it's just aggression. With him, it's this passion to win. And it's unfortunate, but I think it's because she's a woman and because she's black. I think it ties in together. And a lot of it does have to do with her being a woman.
What do you think, Crystal? Because we know in America, and if you're listening to the Lance J Radio Show, we can dance around certain topics. I don't do that. We own Advent Sports Network. It's my show. I'm not going to get canceled. I'm not going to get a letter from someone and be unable the only rule on this show is that no one uses any 4-letter words. We know that there's a double standard for people who are black and brown. I mean, we know that. We can dance around it and pretend that there's not, but we know that there is a double standard.
Definitely.
How does that relate to you as a woman? Because there's already a double standard for women, like you said. Serena's been known to curse out a line judge, and she's portrayed as kind of this evil, shrewish character which does that. But you saw Andre Agassi in the 90s, John McEnroe in the 80s. These guys were famous for dropping F-bombs and cursing out opponents, cursing out line judges, throwing their rackets, breaking their rackets, all of that stuff. When you see Serena do the same, who's passionate about winning and in the pantheon of greatness, I mean, she's up there with Steffi Graf as you know, basically the greatest two tennis players of the modern era. How do you feel as an athlete with that double standard? I mean, you're still out there competing. You're still out there coaching. When you're instilling within the young ladies that you work with and coach, how do you handle that? Do you sit young people aside and explain that to them, or do you just kind of sweep it under the rug?
Well, I definitely, after having, you know, coached high school girls, you have to talk about it, especially me being the emotional person I am. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. For a black woman in America, there's always this constant catch-22 that you're in, because if for some reason something happens, some sort of injustice happens to you as a black woman, if you speak out about it, 9 times out of 10, you're looked at as an angry black woman. You know, that angry black, you know, running her mouth and carrying on. If you stand, even if you, you know, conduct yourself in a way that is respectful or whatever, you're still looked at as this angry black bee who is, you know, going on and on about whatever. But if you don't say anything, of course, then you got to die. You know, it just doesn't work out well for yourself if you don't fight for yourself and fight for the things that you need for your family and whatnot. But it's a constant thing that you have to deal with when you deal with referees who may say something or make comments, you know, because of how you look or whatever the case is, or may call your whole team, you know, a bunch of dykes or whatever the case is. You may have the other team cussing at your girls, and you have to figure how do you walk that line where we respect ourselves and respect each other, but we also stand up for ourselves. And I think it's important that Serena stands up for herself, because there are times where, you know, hey, I got to say something. I'm not going to take it. And there are times where there are white players that will contest the judge, and I feel as though she has the right to do that. But, again, because she's black and because she's a woman, there's that double standard where it turns her into an angry black chick as opposed to an athlete who's passionate about getting a win.
I think, and this will be the last question of this particular segment, I think you touched on it earlier. The way she looks is a major part of this. If Serena Williams, let's just tell the truth. If Serena Williams was 5'8", 155 pounds, and she had caramel complexion, she would be viewed differently in the media. If you have the same game, you know, same level of talent, but because of the way she looks and dresses, to me, this thing is deeper than just an athlete and an iconic sports person. This is about what defines beauty in the United States of America. Now, I look at Serena Williams, and I can't even say the things that I want to say on a Christian sports network when I think of Serena Williams. But I think of her as just being beautiful and just amazing, and, you know, basically literally as if the Lord carved her out in stone. Out of a piece of ivory, like out of a piece of ivory, exactly. That's what I see when I see her, and when I see her doing Revlon commercials and stuff like that. Right. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people that don't see that. They see someone, she gets attacked so much for her body. They see someone that they say has the muscularity of a male and is it feminine. I don't see that, but I do believe that this is all tied up, whereas the Anna Kournikovas and the Maria Sharapovas and these other players of European descent that don't win like Serena wins, they get the commercials. They get all of the pub, they get the commercials, they get the endorsements, they get millions and millions of dollars in endorsements. Their faces on the cover of magazines, where Serena does not get that love. What do you feel as we kind of wrap up, as you're out there instilling and coaching and mentoring, especially with your anti-bullying foundation that you're a part of, when you're teaching young African-American ladies the standard of beauty and to love themselves, how does all of that come together the way that you're viewed physically? Just take the sports aspect out of it. How does it come together the way that you're viewed physically when you're teaching young people and helping them to shine and feel comfortable with their bodies and the way that God made them?
Well, let me see, the best way I can answer that. I will say this. I definitely agree with you as far as if Serena looked differently, she would get a lot more praise. I want to say she played this Australian African-American player. Her name was Sloane or something like that. And
Yeah,
I guess she looked, and I think she lost to her, which was kind of like an upset, but everybody jumped on that opportunity to say, this is the new Serena. She is, and they were ready, but, the woman lost like her next 10, 12 matches or whatever, and clearly she wasn't what they thought that she was, but because of her appearance, they were ready to buy into that. And as a black woman especially, it's different for me because I dress, I would say, more androgynous. I definitely don't wear dresses anymore. I stopped that a long time ago. When I dress up, I wear suits and ties. And so I deal with a lot of high school young ladies, and it's interesting to see how they relate to me. There's a certain, I guess, safeness that they feel with me because, I don't know, for whatever reason, but they confide in me a lot, and I talk a lot, and I talk to them a lot about, the things that they're feeling, and a lot of it has to do with how they look at themselves and how everyone else looks at them and whatnot. And more than anything, at the end of the day, women get it from every angle, every avenue. You have something telling you should look this way, you should look that way, you should look this way or that way. And when it comes to females, at the end of the day, if we personally do not feel good, there will never be anyone that can tell us that we look good. And so working with young women and the way that they perceive me, even if, from the back somebody might think I'm a guy because I do get served maybe 2 or 3 times a day. And I get that. I'm not upset with it because I understand the aesthetic of my clothing, But at the end of the day, I don't get angry with people, but I still at the same time, I'm a woman and I want to be a woman. I'm not trying to go through any changes, nothing like that. I'm completely happy with being a woman, and I try to portray that to my girls. And so I think them seeing me, even the way that I'm dressed and the way that I behave, even seeing me open the door for my wife when she comes to school and that sort of thing, seeing how I treat her, but even still am completely a woman. And I talk to them about being a woman and being precious and protecting themselves and, understanding how beautiful they are on the inside. And until that goal is met, it's kind of pointless to try and, get somebody to see anything else, And so I really try to, for the most part, try to get girls to just appreciate themselves. And that starts with loving them personally, individually, forming individual relationships with each one of them. So when they need something, they can come to me, they can get that love, and they don't have to look for love, in wrong places.
Advent Sports Network is a 503c charity. All advertising proceeds from the Lance J Radio Show are used to fund nationwide youth sports programs and the Advent Sports Network Mentorship and Development Institute, which provides opportunities for young aspiring Christian journalists to cover athletic events and produce sports-related programming.